And this is where I think functional founders lose the plot sometimes. It is our duty to uplift an industry. It is our duty to uplift our team. And it's our duty to uplift the standards. So there's opportunity. So training these people about the below the line and the above the line concept had a very big impact on the team. They walked away with something very special. And I think founders sometimes neglect the soft stuff because they think that the soft stuff doesn't have an impact. It has a huge impact.
You're listening to The Functional Founder with Themi Sturgianus, a podcast for owner-operators ready to build high-performance teams, handle growth with confidence, and scale without burning out.
Hey, functional founders, I want to share with you something that we had. We were discussing something quite significant with a company recently, and we were in the boardroom discussing the crucial value systems, really training our team. We had 4 new installers that we were training, and we were discussing ProLab, the roofing division, and the waterproofing division, but we were discussing the value systems and really starting out from scratch, building a team that understands what we strive for in the business, what we tolerate. And, I believe that functional founders, so important for us to lead the way as far as change and self-development is concerned. So what we did do is we discussed a principle that I've learned throughout my coaching, which I'm going to share with you. And I find that this little principle that we talk about has absolutely revolutionized my team's thinking. So the new installers that came in, we trained them specifically on certain areas, and I'm going to share it with you. And we call it I don't know if you can see this well enough, trying to set my camera up there. Please comment below if this is of value to you, but it was quite nice because call it the above the line and the below the line concept. And how does it really work? Well, when we had the training, we positioned quite well. The training is going to consist of some product training, but it's also going to be about self-development because we want people in our business that can grow, self-develop throughout the process too. We want to be able to offer that to people because remember, with LabWorks, we're uplifting an industry and we want to make a difference to the people out there. Not only to the community at large, but our employees. We want to make a difference. We want to be able, when people say, which is one of the best companies that they've ever worked for, I want them to say LabWorks because they found significant growth and they enjoyed working there because there was self-development. And one of the areas we spoke about was below the line and above the line concept. And let's just go below the line. Below the line would be blame, excuses, and denial. So we used examples. Can you give me an example of blame? Well, the traffic was crazy. I didn't manage to come to work on time. Someone else messed up on the job, etc. Can you give me an example of excuses? Well, excuses was, I haven't been trained enough. I didn't have time to watch the videos. Those are kind of excuses. And denial is what we spoke about originally. I brought this up here, this concept of denial. This was the actual training process, the actual training slide that I had or deck that I had. And I said, if we're in denial, we don't address issues in our life. And then all of a sudden we're carrying more suitcases on our back or monkeys on our back. And all this starts weighing very heavy on us. And eventually it bites us as an individual if we don't address these issues. So coming back to below the line concept is that we don't want to marinate below the line. Below the line is not an area that we strive for in a company. But let's talk about above the line for a second. What would that be? Now, remember, I hadn't written these things down. I just wrote what you can see here in the red, which is OAMR. Ownership. It's your own ship. Let's unpack that. It's your own ship. So don't wait for someone else to come and help you. We're giving you a job. We're giving you an opportunity to shine. We're giving you an opportunity to deliver exceptional service, the lab way. We're giving you an opportunity to follow the lab fit promise, which is giving incredible service to our clients. We're giving you that opportunity. This is your job. It's your own ship, okay? Like, if things don't pan out in the business, a bad founder would say things didn't work out. A good founder would say, you know what? There's something I'm doing that's not working. I take ownership for the outcome of my people. I take ownership as a functional founder. for all the customer complaints, the cash flow if we don't have it. I take responsibility. It's my own ship. I will get the benefit of it later, but it's my own ship. Likewise with you, it's your own ship. And good functional founders also focus on accountability, like my team should. Okay. It's the ability to account. So I want to have the ability to account on you as an individual to do a task or to carry through some responsibility. And the last area would be responsibility, the ability to respond. Like when something happens, can I rely on you to respond to that issue so that it gets taken care of? Now, we had a recent customer complaint that I almost needed to get involved with, but I was looking at a distance. I was really looking at it, thinking that maybe if I step in too much and I take over this customer complaint, it might backfire because I'm not teaching my people to deal with it. So I was very, very close to this issue and I almost got involved. But this morning, ironically, and I'll share the testimonial with you, we'll bring it up here as a JPEG so that you can see it in the podcast, is we got feedback from this specific individual, this client that we were dealing with, that said that we absolutely dealt with it incredibly well because my people had the ability to respond. My manager went out to see him, tried to save the situation, explained why it happened, so to give more context. And then, that all is lip service. How did we execute? The ability to respond means to make sure that the client is happy at the end of the day, to make sure that the material arrives on site and that the client's expectation are managed all the way. And one of my employees that was the project manager at that time, he took incredible responsibility. I must give it to him. He visited the site regularly. He kept the client every day, would phone the client, maybe even twice a day to inform them of the process. And then our installation team that did the roofing project did a number one on that person's roof. And they were absolutely happy because this client was referred by the neighbor. And the neighbor obviously phoned me and said to me, listen, there's issues. And I almost had to jump in. But fortunately, they took care of it because they have the ability to respond. And what I found was coaching this team, they were sitting around the table and every single one of them, there's four of them. I said, do you understand this? And they just looked at me and they said, boss, that's why I've been lacking that. I haven't been taking ownership of my life. And the other one said, you know what? I'm not taking accountability. And the other one said, you know what? I'm deep in denial. I'm not addressing issues with my family. And so it has a spin-off. And this is where I think functional founders lose the plot sometimes. It is our duty to uplift an industry. It is our duty to uplift our team. And it's our duty to uplift the standards. So there's an opportunity. So training these people about the below the line and the above line concept had a very big impact on the team. They walked away with something very special. And I think founders sometimes neglect the soft stuff because they think that the soft stuff doesn't have an impact. It has a huge impact. It's our responsibility to teach our people not to be victims, but rather victors. Victors. Above the line thinking creates victors. Below the line thinking creates victims. Guys, if you like this podcast, please share this with like-minded entrepreneurs. Help me grow our functional founder community.
Thank you for joining the Functional Founder. This podcast grows through you, our founder community. Please share this with someone who needs it and click on the subscribe button. That way, more people can join us.